Hi, I'm Brent Green, and welcome to another great episode of The Green Scene. Today, we have our very special guest, attorney at law, James Clark, and he's going to inform us on some of the intricacies of Prop 19. So let's go get legal. So we're here with James Clark, attorney at law here in the Bay Area. James, can you tell us what it is that you do?
Well, what I do is I represent people who are facing criminal charges related to cannabis offenses. About 99% of what I do is marijuana and medical marijuana cases for people who find themselves being arrested and charged by the police and law enforcement.
Can you tell us what exactly is Prop 19?
Prop 19 is a ballot initiative that the voters of California are going to have a chance to vote on this November about legalizing certain aspects of our cannabis law and changing that such that people can actually possess and cultivate cannabis on their own. When we talk about the Prop 19, a lot of people don't call it a measure to legalize, they call it a measure to re-legalize marijuana, since cannabis used to be legal in California. Some of the specifics are it will mainly address the personal and private use of marijuana. And so what that means is it'll allow people to cultivate about a 5-foot by 5-foot square area. It allows people to grow their own marijuana in their own home. It doesn't allow for unlimited cultivation, but it allows people to grow their own and keep what they grow. It also allows people to possess and carry with them an ounce of marijuana or less. If they exceeded that and they were actually possessing more or selling or cultivating a lot more, then they could have some real tragic consequences. They could get slapped with felonies and face possible prison time. And as we call it out here, they'd be forced to pay the outlaw tax.
So let's say I'm Joe America in somewhere like maybe Texas or Ohio, and Prop 19 passes. Does that mean that I can leave my place of origin and move to California and all of a sudden start selling and growing marijuana?
Prop 19 only allows for the personal cultivation and personal possession, unless, of course, you got that license and approval from your local city or county. So if you moved out from Texas and you got your city or county here in California to give you a license to grow and sell more than for your personal use, the answer is yes. However, most people aren't going to be able to get those kinds of licenses, and for most people, they'd be able to move out and only grow or possess personally.
How would this initiative, its passage, affect like nationwide movements in places like Maine and Colorado and places like Texas, Mississippi, things like that?
Well, the whole world is going to be watching this vote, and these other states are going to see if it passes. They're going to say, well, this is the trend. So as California goes, so goes the nation.
So can you tell us what's so important about the passage of this initiative to California?
Certainly, yeah. California has traditionally had a much more understanding and relaxed approach towards marijuana laws, and this would really reflect the will of the people. Additionally, it could save a lot of money by taking scarce law enforcement and judicial resources and applying them to actual crime, and similarly, at the same time, generate a lot of tax revenue for cash-strapped California cities and the state budget. It does allow for cities or counties to authorize and license large-scale growers and sellers of marijuana, and so both the state will be able to collect the retail sales tax off of that business, and the local entities that issue those licenses will be able to collect fees and taxes off of those sales as well. So it really will generate a lot of revenue both at the state and the local level.
And how would this affect like dispensaries who are already paying taxes?
Well, as it is right now, local dispensaries only have to pay state sales taxes off of the retail sales. And cities like Oakland, and there may be others that come on board, they're asking for retail sales to be paid into the city as well. Prop 19 would expand that and allow the cities and counties to generate a lot more revenue that would stay locally.
Do you think that this initiative makes way for big agribusiness to take over to somewhat is considered, no pun intended, a homegrown entity.
There's a lot of concern about that in the Bay Area and points north, especially Humboldt and Mendocino counties, the heart of the Emerald Triangle. A lot of people are afraid that this might encroach upon their medical cannabis business, or even perhaps their illegal cultivations. But I don't think that it's going to. The way that it's been written has been fairly narrow, and it would only legalize the possession and cultivation within California. So any big agribusinesses out there are still going to find themselves in a situation where they're not going to want to invest in something that's illegal under federal law.
So let's say I'm a medical marijuana patient. How would the passage of Prop 19 affect me as a patient?
Well, it really shouldn't affect you. The way Prop 19 was written was to preserve all of the current rights that medical cannabis patients currently enjoy. However, by passing Prop 19, it would create a new category of legal cannabis users, and that would possibly offer additional protections to medical users who would then be viewed by law enforcement in the courts as more protected than the casual recreational user.
Do you have any advice for our viewers out there who like to smoke like 2 million blunts a day?
Call me.
So what is your involvement in Prop 19?
Well, at the formation, I helped to write the initial drafts with Richard Lee and Jeff Jones, who are the two proponents of this measure, and they have gone on to really spearhead and shoulder the effort on this movement, and I give them a lot of credit for having the vision and the fortitude to take it on.
So James, what would you say to our viewers out there who are going to vote for the legalization of marijuana?
I'd say read the initiative and then make up your own mind, get involved, and ultimately go out and vote.
And how important is it for our viewers to read the initiative?
Well, it's pretty important because there's a lot of fine detail in there, and like I mentioned, there's a lot of confusion about what it allows and what it doesn't allow, and you may find that it's not what you thought it was, both for good or bad. And so unless you read it yourself, you're not going to have a fully informed understanding of what you're voting on.
So this wraps our shoot of Prop 19. Remember, kids, to always read, then vote. And should you find yourself victimized by the dreaded outlaw tax, what should they do, James?
Call me.
This is Brent Green from the Green Scene.